Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video by Aviation Master 100. Today, we'll be looking at the aircraft of the RAF during World War II. So the RAF was obviously Britain's Air Force, and um they were very successful during the Battle of Britain by holding off the Germans from so they they took over France, started bombing the United Kingdom, but luckily, brave pilots of the RAF managed to hold them off. And so after the war, after the Battle of Britain, they suffered heavy losses, even though they were successful and defending their homeland. So they had to rebuild. So they built more Spitfires and Hurricanes, but they also bought a lot of airplanes from the U.S. Um, you know, to kind of make up for some of their losses. So we'll look at the RAF fighters. So the first plane you see right here is a Hawker Hurricane. And this was a really good airplane. It wasn't quite as good as the Spitfire, but it could still put up a fairly good fight. And then next up we have the Curtiss P-40 Kitty Hawk, as they called it. And this was kind of a later model of the P-40. Next up we have the Curtiss P-40 Tomahawk, which was, an earlier version of the one I just mentioned down here. Next up we have the Bolton Paul Defiant. And this one was found its main, job as a night fighter. As you can see, it was a dedicated bomber killer. It looks similar to the Hurricane, as far as the airframe is. Next up, we have the Bristol Beaufighter, and this was kind of kind of a multi-role aircraft. It was a multi-role aircraft, and it was used for kind of attack bombing, and it was used as a heavy fighter. And then next up we have the Westland Whirlwind, and this it kind of looks similar to an airplane that we're about to talk about, which is the Gloucester Meteor. And the airframe looks similar. The T-tail looks kind of different. The engine and placement on the wing is very similar. And then next up we have the P-51 Mustang, and this one it was a very successful fighter. It was imported from the United States, and it is a very famous aircraft. Still to this day, it inspires all. Next up we have the Supermarine Spitfire, which was also a really good airplane. It was very successful during the Battle of Britain, along with the Hurricane and the Defiant flying at night. And it's a really good airplane. Next up, we have the Hawker Tempest Typhoon. I kind of decided to mainly just do the Typhoon because they're basically the same airplane. The Typhoon was just kind of an upgraded. It was basically just an upgraded Tempest. It was really the same airplane, and I really don't really understand why people make such a big deal out of it. When someone says, oh, look at that Tempest. No, it's a Typhoon. You know what? Same thing, basically the same airplane. And then next up, this almost kind of didn't really make it on the list. This is a Douglas A-20, but the British used them as a night fighter, even though they're kind of, there was a dedicated version of the A-20 called the P-70 that was mainly a night fighter, but I don't think the U.S. were exporting those. And I don't really even think it entered service with the U.S. And then probably the most advanced airplane on this list is the Gloucester Meteor, and this wasn't really introduced until the very end of the war, because obviously it was Britain's first, jet fighter. And then this one almost didn't make it on the list either. This is a P-59 Aero Comet, and it was they traded or the U.S. and Great Britain traded for, the U.S. got a Gloster Meteor, and then the British got a P-59. So I kind of didn't include this one, but I just decided to, just be like, what the heck, why not? So, those were the main fighters of main fighters of the RAF. The RAF did have planes at the very beginning of war, such as the Gloucester Gladiator, but they didn't really use those in large numbers, so I didn't really include it on this list. So thank you for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, tell your friends. Click that notification button to get notified the minute I post a new video. Once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.